bribery allegation or scandal by Annkio Briggs, a public affairs analyst. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we've been going back and forth with this. For our last guest, Senator Ogunlewe, he did say, well, the public officers are more culpable. Talking about culpability and the likes, and he also said that we also need more probe to unravel this again. Do you think we need another probe to look at the fuel subsidy matter?
For me, the fuel subsidy matter, immediately the facts became known, and which was even before we went into the protests against the removal, even before the removal was proposed by the president. People like us were very much aware that this fuel subsidy issue was a highly fraudulent issue, bearing in mind the fuel subsidy has been going on for years, maybe over 10 years, but it progressively just got worse. A free-for-all kind of stuff. Anybody who needed money just had a briefcase company or did not even have a company. You know, so it was very clear that there was something critically wrong with the fuel subsidy situation. So to say today, after we have reached the point that we are at where probes have been conducted over the fuel subsidy matter, for us to be hearing now that there has been issues with the latest probe itself concerning the chairman of the probe and a marketer himself of some sort, and even that we're now hearing that there are other marketers that should actually be on the list that are not on the list. The question is, I mean, what are we doing with probes in this country? I mean, it's just one probe after another, one report after the other, one commission set up after the other, to address the various issues of corruption, even security today in Nigeria. Even the issue of the security today up in the north, Jos and all those things. We've had reports on all of those things. We've had reports on the Niger Delta issue. There is hardly anything in Nigeria that we've not had reports on. So I think Nigerians are really just tired of reports.
So what's the place of the police in all of this?
I mean, basically, what is the place of the police in any country or in any society? The place of the police is to make sure that laws are abided by, and when they are not, that people are held responsible. That is, in my opinion, and I think the expectation of us is that the police should do their duty. But what we have in Nigeria today is a confusion of responsibilities. The military is inside doing what the police should be doing, and then it begs the question: do we then need police if the military is going to step in and do the job of the police in issues of corruption, in issues of security? Do we need the army, or do we need the police? You know, so of course it's very clear what the police should do, but is the police doing what the police should do? Even the police itself is being accused of corruption, and it is meant to actually take care of issues of corruption in this country. It owes us some responsibility. Because
we asked this knowing full well that when all of this broke, we heard and we saw that the police invited Femi Otedola and subsequently invited Farouk Lawan. We thought by now all of those information extracted from them should have taken this particular matter to courts.
Of course, what we do expect in Nigeria and what should be and what actually happens always, as in this case, are two different things. Under normal circumstances, even I don't think that Odetola should have great legal minds are telling us that even going to the SSS was the wrong thing to do. If you're trying to entrap somebody to prove that they're doing something illegal, and you entrap them, you don't go through the SSS, or if it's a civil thing like a fraudulent thing, it is maybe when it's like a kidnapping or a murder or something, you know. But everything is confused as far as I'm concerned in Nigeria, and that's why I keep saying that, because the whole system is confused and confusing, we the people of Nigeria are also confused. Everybody should know what it is that should be done. People who need to take decisions, should take the right decisions, and the people of Nigeria will be behind these decisions, because it will be in our interest. Odetola himself, who gave the bribe, I think a crime also has been committed there. But I do agree with him, though, that it should be a public inquiry at the very least.
In the midst of all of this confusion, what do you see as the way out? Because it seems that it's looking very complicated in the midst of all of this confusion of roles, as it were. How do you think you can get out of this?
I think we need to start right from the top, right from the beginning, when it comes to the expectations of the people on what government ought to be doing and what the people should demand that government does for them. We have so many reports and so many probes and so many outstanding white papers on so many issues. But I would like us to look at the issue of the corruption and also the issue of security today in Nigeria. Now, looking at what we expect, like in the issue of this subsidy probe, I mean, a probe has been set up, and there is a report out on that probe. Mm-hmm. That report, and if you remember, the day that report was first published, I was in this studio immediately after my Ogafemi Felana. I came on immediately after him, and if you remember, I said that this was a tactic to sweep that report under the carpet. You know, that report has come out. We must look at that report. I think it is wrong for people now to go to court, because it then justifies that thinking that people have set this up, that this Odetola saga plus the bribery has been set up so that we can find ourselves in a situation that we are today, which is saying that this report is now contaminated, if you like, and that it should actually be of no consequence.
Isn't that what it is?
No, it is not. Which part of the report is contaminated? It is not every line, it is not every sentence in that report that is contaminated. It is not, because it is only Odetola that has been able to come out and lay a claim that he can prove with voice and visual that he had this type of interaction with Farouk. And if that is the case, and no other person, no other marketer can say that, then it is wrong. The marketers or marketer that is now running to court to say that you cannot use what is in that report against me is a criminal. Is not telling the truth. Because if you are not saying that you were called to pay a bribe, then why are you saying that because somebody else is claiming that he was called to pay a bribe and he can prove it, that your mention in that report should be thrown away? How is that?
Well, we also remember that on the heels of that report, there were statements released by the NNPC saying that, certain things in that report weren't true. They had issues with the reports, as it were. And a host of marketers have been saying behind the scenes that, yes, they too were pressured to give bribes, and maybe some of them did succumb to it. Some people are saying that if you look through the reports, the names of some marketers are missing.
Well, you see, in that case, it is now his word against my word kind of scenario in Nigeria, which is what is the problem in Nigeria. And that is why government is not really able to function. There are always some people somewhere holding the Federal Republic of Nigeria to hostage, so that if they don't like the person there, or if you're not performing the way that they think it should favor them, there is always a hostage situation in governance in Nigeria.
Who is more powerful? Isn't it government?
Government ought to be more powerful.
So how can any individual hold government?
But we know that is what has happened. If you take the recent issues that transpired in this country, we all saw it live 2 years or so ago when the late president was ill through no fault of his own. And we all saw the madness that was going to transpire in this country. It showed very clearly that people were holding government hostage. It is happening right now to this government, this Goodluck Jonathan's
Now you're talking about this government, sorry to butt in here, but again,
Yeah.
how can the government prove to the people that it's not part and parcel of what is happening? Because some people have argued, if you've gone through the dailies, that some of these people mentioned in some of the corruption or should I say mismanagement cases, from the SEC to this particular matter concerning petroleum, you get to see some of these individuals around the presidency. So what does that explain to you as an individual?
Definitely, are there times in Nigerian government that you don't see the same people, the same sort of people, any government in power type of scenario? It's the same people that are being recycled, either from the top or from the bottom, but it's the same set of people. Sometimes people in their 80s, people in their 70s, people as young as 34 or 40, depending on how you're able to position yourself at any one given time, that are circulating within the government circle. So somebody like Goodluck Jonathan the people around him were already in the corridors of power before he ever became the president. But what we are saying is that if some people are around any government, including this government, and these people seem to have a question mark around them, then it is the responsibility of us as a people to raise the issues as we're raising it now and say to government, look, these people around you, what are they doing around you? They are not enhancing the government. And then government also need to listen to the people and say, well, if I have these type of associations as a government or even as a private friend, and if it is not going down well with the nation, then government also has to have a rethink with its type of association. We all know that you show me your friends and I will tell you who you
But
are.
they
So
genuinely need that kind of advice, because in other climes, even just mere going on the internet and getting some kind of nude photos have cost people their jobs, and people have genuinely resigned. But we'll talk about case of, should I say, corruption. We're getting to see some individuals still around those people in authority, and people say it doesn't give any kind of impression that the government is ready to fight this corruption we're talking about.
We are definitely saying that government is not showing, not just federal government, state government, all kinds of people that are in government, from local government chairman to councillors to all the way up to the highest seat in the house, but the point we're making is that these are facts, and that government ought to be listening to what the people are saying. So in effect, if we are saying this publicly, then it actually empowers the government, it empowers the federal government, the state government, it empowers the president to say, hey, if my people are saying that this is not acceptable to them, then really I need to make some changes. And when those changes begin to occur, the people of Nigeria will be behind those decisions. So we do need to encourage, we do need to see those decisions being made, and being made very quickly, even in the area of security. The country is falling apart. It is falling to pieces. People's life does not mean anything. Our money does not mean anything to people who are stealing it. So we need to make the federal government, if we have to force them, we need to make them to understand that this is what Nigerians expect, this is what Nigerians want. A lot of fraud is being committed in this country. We need people to be answerable. We need people to go to court, like the man is saying. But you just, the president cannot just wake up one morning and order the Inspector General of Police
again, we say
and say,
this,
go and arrest Annkio because she's attached to something. No, they must be investigated.
We
and
say
the right
this
thing
because
be done.
some would say because some people, they have become untouchables. We have seen some people pilfer just or steal just 100 naira, and the police have come hard on them. Some have been in jail and some have been imprisoned, generally through the law courts. How come when people steal trillions of naira, millions of naira, we tell ourselves that the government or the police or the EFCC should take its time?
What we're doing here today, I believe, is the voice of the people. See, there was a young girl that was in jail in Lagos here for 4 years for allegedly stealing a telephone. She was in jail for 4 years. She was just released. I saw it in the papers. My heart was broken. I couldn't believe that that can happen. People steal a tuber of yam. We saw that boy, one young boy of about 14. There is grave injustice in this country. You look at what is happening in the north. Every day people are being killed. Blood doesn't mean anything anymore to us in Nigeria. The same way fraud and crime does not mean anything. And we need to drive these things home to federal government, to the people responsible, to the ministers responsible. And if they're not going to take responsibility, we must remove them. See, there is no other set of people now that can remove these people except you and I, except the man on the street. There is no reason for us to continue to be complaining in our sitting rooms if we're not prepared to come out and make these our complaints viable and make them effective.
Would you accept another method? I mean, would you accept another, say, the federal government use its own devices and means other than that report released by the National Assembly to be able to get to the bottom of this and bring in all those who are called to question?
I don't know how federal government can do that without going through the right channels, without going through what we today call due process. Due process means that you do things the right way. Due process means if there is suspicion, or if there is allegation, or if somebody says some crime has been committed, the police ought to investigate it. And then when you investigate, it is either you say there is no justification for prosecution, and then you say why, or you say there is justification for prosecution, and then you prosecute. So really, federal government, you know, when we say federal government, are we just narrowing it down to one person? No, we're narrowing it down to everybody that is involved in running the government. We have the Minister of Justice, from whose offices these things will finally get to his table, and he gets to make the decision. Is he doing his job? We have different ministries. If there is an issue in the Ministry of Petroleum, in NNPC, is the Ministry of Petroleum doing what it is supposed to be doing?
Now, the reason why I ask this question is because of the three, you know, initially, right during the subsidy period, you know, committees were set up by the Ministry of Finance and also by the Ministry of Petroleum. And when those committees were set up, a host of people were in doubt as to why they were set up, because they were like, a probe is going on currently. Why are we setting up committees? Is this to counter whatever it is might come out of the probe? As it is now, another committee has been reconstituted or constituted to reconcile and verify all subsidy payments. So if some marketers are found to be wanting, will it be proper, as it were, to continue prosecution or to start prosecution based on the reports of these committees that have been set up and ignoring the reports of the House of Representatives, as it were?
As a lay person, there is no doubt in our minds, ordinary people who really don't even have knowledge of law or how law works or whatever, there is no doubt in our minds that something went wrong. So therefore, our expectations is that there should be facts presented to us. These facts are going to come from the police, are going to come from the Ministry of Justice, are going to come from the various committees and commissions and probes that have been set up. We're not idiots. We're not illiterates. We, if nothing else, a lot of people have common sense. You know, give us the facts and let the right thing be done. There is no doubt in our minds as people of Nigeria that there are some people that must be held accountable. We all saw the probe live. Channels was showing it on a daily basis.
I was saying that, do we have to rely on the reports of that particular committee, or can we go through any other means?
How? Because even if you watch and I watched it, if you watch most of the proceedings, there were things that were said at that time that were accepted and was put in the report. Nobody argued about it. Are they now telling us now that, for instance, the people that said they don't have an address, they don't have where to put the products that they were bringing in, and that they were actually not entitled to the monies that they received, are they now going to come and say that they paid bribe, that their names was put in there? There are some facts there that are undisputable. The undisputable facts is what we're going to be looking at. If Odetola has issues, maybe we should hold Odetola's thing on hold and go back to his issues. And some other issues that is clear that have questions mark around them. But to say that the whole probe should be thrown out, then even the issue of removing the subsidy becomes an issue as well, you know. And I definitely said at the time that the subsidy itself must go till tomorrow. I believe it. The probe that we saw justified it. There were people who were receiving the subsidy that had no right. They were criminals. They had no right to it. They lied to have access to those money. Will those people go scot-free because Odetola says that he spoke with Farouk and Farouk was expecting how many $million dollars from him, which by the way he didn't fully pay up. Where is the money? You know, so these are all the things that have to come out.
The phone conversation doesn't make any meaning to you.
How can it make any meaning to me? Where was Odetola when it first happened? Why didn't he say anything? When it first happened, why did he wait until the probe was over, until the report was written? Why didn't he complain at that time? Even when the transaction failed, that was the time to come out and say, look, I was trying to trap this man. See, we're not fools. I'm trying to trap this man. This man, I've not been able to trap him, but as far as I'm concerned, this is the little I've been able to trap him with while the probe was going on.
In other words, did the House do well by bringing his company name back into the list of those indicted?
Well, this is what the right probing now will have to find out, because there is a question mark on Odetola and Lawan. Let's see, we're making it look as if Odetola here is a saint. He's not a saint in all of these things. So, because
isn't that what he is? He went for a sting operation.
No, he's not. What qualifies him to go for a sting operation? Why didn't he go to the police and say, look, this man wants me to commit this crime. I don't want to commit the crime. You went ahead and committed the crime and then say, see, I've committed this crime, but it's because I want to show that this man too is a criminal, so I have to also be a criminal to prove that the man...
Was that what you got from it? Because they say that, you know, he did it with the knowing of the SSS, and that he was the agent provocateur of the SSS.
Oh, so it's entrapment. It's entrapment.
Well,
we'll entrapment
we'll get to the cost to define that.
Well, you see, for me, I mean, like, the story is very clear. Let the police take the matter up. Let Odetola say what he knows. And look, the crime had been committed. There was a giving and then there was a taking. That one, there is no doubt about that. Let them do the right thing. If it's good enough to take each and every person to court, let them do it. You know, if it's not good enough, let us move forward on this subsidy probe. All that money that has been paid cannot be swept under the carpet. And that's why I keep coming back to the issue of, you see, what I have noticed in Nigeria is that there are people who use an issue to cover up an issue, and then we just go from there to there. Like, for instance, what happened in Jos yesterday. By now, Nigerians should be very, very worried, I'm telling you, about the future of this country, about the security of this country, because it is very clear that there is a plan against Nigerians. There is a plan against this country, that or if a handful of people do not get things in a particular way, that this country will come to a standstill. If not, what has happened in just today, and it's not because senators were killed, because a senator's blood is just the same color as the blood of an ordinary market Igbo man. So it is not because senators were killed. It is because of what is happening today. How can over 500 or 300 men be wearing bulletproof vests in this Nigeria? And yet you have people who are dying in jail. I have people in Rivers State that were arrested over an issue of 19 people that were kidnapped over 2 years ago. They're still rotting in jail. Some of them are dying in Port Harcourt jail. They've not even been taken to court.
What's your thinking? Have we been handling this well? Because it has become like a Sunday affair in almost all the states in the north.
Of course we're not. We have security. We have police. We have the military. We have the SSS. We have all arms. We have the JTF. We all saw what happened in the Niger Delta. Communities were destroyed
But I say, without the people giving information, especially to the SSS or the police, there's little or nothing they can do.
So why are they there? Are they there so that people will give them information, or they are supposed? What is the SSS supposed to be doing? Said, are they not supposed to be going into those places, mixing with the people that are perpetrating this thing to catch them? Is it the ordinary man that is hungry on the streets of Kaduna or Jos that is looking for his daily bread now, that is going to take it to instead of looking for a job now, he will now start looking for people who are planning bombs? How is he going to do that? It is the job of the security agencies, and not the job of citizens. Yes, if as a citizen you have information or suspicion, yes, you can report it to the police. But to now carry this whole thing upon the shoulder of Nigerians and say that Nigerians are the ones now that are supposed to be doing the work of the police and the SSA, then they should resign and let Nigerians that are jobless take this job now.
Ms. Briggs, quickly, let's talk about the security situation. What should we be doing as a people? Because in other climes, we see people give information to those agencies for them to work perfectly well.
Definitely. I am sure that any Nigerian truly that loves this country, that has information, that is not part of this madness, will give that information. Look at the lives that is being lost today in the north. It's not acceptable anymore. But please, I want to appeal to all of us to be very clear in our minds on what we are seeing playing out. This is politics at its bloodiest, because there is no excuse for what is happening. And we must be able to stand up and speak the truth. There are people responsible for this loss of life today, and the people responsible must be brought to book. They are known. This thing that is happening is not about poverty in any part of the north. What is happening today is clearly an issue of a governance that is not acceptable to a group of people. That is that somebody from the Niger Delta is today in power. We should be very careful what we are accepting in this country, because this era, this Jonathan's government, whether it is allowed to function properly or not, and in my mind it is very clear now, I have no doubt in my mind that this government is not being allowed to function, and that is wrong, because other people have governed this country before. People from the West did not go around killing people because somebody from the North was in power. The Northerners have been in power for close to 40 years. We didn't kill people in the South or in Igbo land because a Northerner is in power. Let us be very realistic today in Nigeria. What is happening is wrong. Let us call a spade a spade. I speak the truth the way I see it and accept it. And that's what's happening today. And I think Nigerians should come out in full force and call a stop to this mayhem of killing. If people have an issue, whatever those issues are, let everybody come out and dialogue. I've been saying this thing now. All of us have a right. And that's why we're calling for a national conference. We must have a new constitution in this country, not the review of this present constitution.